Hi, Voices of the Bench community. I'm Laura Prosser, the digital marketing manager here for Ivoclar North America, and I would like to invite you to start following us on Instagram. It's your chance to obtain exclusive updates on product announcements, industry news, upcoming educational events, and heartwarming stories about our local team and industry professionals. So let's get social together. Simply start following us on Instagram at ivoclar.na. That's Instagram at ivoclar.na. We'll see you there.
Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Greetings and welcome to episode 362 of Voices from the Bench. My name is Elvis.
And my name's Barbara. How are you? I missed you. I missed you last weekend.
Yeah, seriously, where the hell were you? Just kidding.
Yeah.
So this is our first recording since Lab Day Chicago.
Where you went solo, and I know you kicked ass. So.
Well, you didn't miss anything. It was actually a horrible time.
Yeah, right.
Nobody was there. The weather was terrible. There was like 3 people.
Yeah.
Just no fun whatsoever. Just
right.
You didn't miss a thing.
Dude, I saw you all over social media, so I was in Chicago via Facebook.
That must have been tough. I remember when they did a vision a few years ago I couldn't go to. It's hard.
Yeah, it's
was.
Hard. Yep.
You know, honestly, yeah, you missed a great meeting. Cat Lab started off the whole weekend. They did a great job. Jeff Stronk on his last run of chair.
Yes, sir.
You know, as always, they had some great speakers. Of course, the conversations in between the speakers is, to me, the highlight.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then we recorded at that evening event, and I actually did pretty good. I had quite a few people come up and chat. I actually had a whole hour conversation with the gentleman that started OptiSplit. You know, that grammetry that I'm super excited for. So I nerded out for an hour.
I know you love those hours, too. That makes you happy, so cool.
Don't worry. Had a lot of 20-minute conversations, too.
I would have been like, come on, move along.
And, of course, a huge shout-out and a thanks to Ivoclar for, again, hosting us. They totally redid that ballroom. It is amazing. They did a really nice job. It's kind of funny. I showed up, and they wanted to put me kind of in the room and around the corner, and I'm like, all right, I guess. But eventually someone figured out prime spot right by the door, under those famous Emacs lips I love so much. Just a ton of traffic.
I bet that somebody was you. Did you take that desk and move it?
Well, it was a little... Yes, I did move the table myself.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah, yes, we have many a times. But it was just great time. Tons of people. I think I had maybe 18 conversations over the weekend.
Good job.
Yeah, but Ivoclar, good party. They put on a dinner. Of course, you were invited but didn't attend. That was really good, celebrating that 20 years of Emacs. And just all the great people I got to see and the new people we get to meet, past guests coming up. I mean, just a great time. I don't mean to rub it in, but damn, it was a good time.
I would like to give a very genuine shout out to all of the folks that went out to me and sent me flowers and cards and notes on Messenger, and just... it was really meaningful, very hard week for me, but I got a lot of love, and I just want to say thank you to all those out there that acknowledged my father's passing. And it's been a rough week, but life goes on. It's been a hard couple years watching that, but now we're on to IDS, and I'm starting to heal, and I'm super happy to be back. But thank you for holding the fort down, and thank you to everybody that talked to Elvis. I'm looking forward to the conversations, and I know you're going to say, well, you weren't there, but I was there in spirit. I was there in spirit, and I was definitely following on social media.
I'm still in the process of bleeping out all the times I say, well, she's not effing here or something, So I'm working on that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody stay tuned. Great stuff coming soon.
But what I don't plan on missing, dun, 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 I think we're about almost a month away.
Dude, we're like 3 weeks. I mean,
Yay!
yeah.
IDS in Cologne, Germany. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the great people at exocad. You and I and Voices will be in Hall 1, booth A040/C040 for 4 days straight. If you think you've got 18 in Chicago, I bet we get 50 at IDS.
Gonna be nuts, yeah.
And if you're having a hard time finding us, just head towards the most purple area you can find, because that is exocad and they are amazing. So please come say hi, see us, get on the podcast, and see all of the amazing things that exocad is doing for our industry, and especially for you and I.
It's gonna be fantastic. I'm so excited. A little nervous, actually, with all the people telling us how big this thing is. In Chicago, you know, you mentioned and you ask, are you going to be there? And so many people are like, bring the good shoes and be prepared. You can't see everything. And I'm just like, God, you're scaring me more than anything. But I'm excited.
Well, I think we're going to be parked working the whole time. So
I know.
As long as we can do our area, then we're good.
Yeah, I'm going to just look for purple and follow.
And bring some purple.
There you go. So this week, we get to talk to an amazing denturist in Canada that actually has really created a fantastic practice for herself. Josie Schmitz-Burchartz. Josie Schmitz-Burchartz. She corrects it during the interview. She grew up with a father that was a technician. She put in her time cleaning and doing deliveries before she even started doing the lab work. But wanting to be an artist, but also seeing patients, Josie found herself going through 9 years of school before graduating with a license to be a denturist.
That's a long time.
Now, also during the 9 years, she started, grew, and sold a very successful non-teeth related business. So when she graduated, she had the knowledge to open her own practice, and she started seeing patients. Now, with 9 employees, Josie's busy practice called SB Denture Clinic is thriving. She talks about the importance of that good first impression, of course, why she loves Ivoclar, and finding that work-life balance that works for her. So join us as we chat with Josie Schmitz-Burchartz.
Yes, good luck.
Are you a dental lab in need of more talent to improve your bottom line and keep production on schedule? Are you a dental tech with great skills but feel you're being limited at your current lab? Well, the answer is here. Hi, I'm Mark from Win-Win Go, and this is precisely why Win-Win Go was created. The dental lab and dental tech community needed a place where labs and technicians can meet, talk about their needs, and connect in ways that foster a win-win outcome. As a tech, if you're ready to make a change, thinking about moving in the next year, or just curious what's out there, sign up today. It's totally free. As a lab, you might be feeling the frustration of paying the big employment sites so much and getting so few tech candidates. We understand. They don't much care about our industry. WinWinGo.com is simply the best place for lab techs and lab owners to actively engage in creating their ideal future. WinWinGo.com, how dental techs find paradise.
Voices from the bench. The interview. We are super excited to once again feature a denturist.
Yay!
Now, it's been a hot minute since we've had a denturist on, but Barb and I always are huge fans of what denturism and denturists do for the community.
You know it.
So let's welcome to the podcast from British Columbia. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. British Columbia, Josie Schmitz. Your turn.
Burchartz.
Nice.
Burchartz.
Boy cats. I like it.
Josie Schmitz Burchartz. Yeah. Is it like boy cats?
It's like boy and then Hatz.
Nice.
That's where you
and
lose
it's German, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me on. For doing this.
I really appreciate you guys reaching out.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. Of course. Found you on Instagram.
Yes.
You do some beautiful work.
Thank you.
But you actually get to place these and see the whole clinical side.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into all of that, but how did you find teeth?
How did I find teeth? That's a great question. It kind of goes in multiple different directions from the past, but
yeah,
primarily it was through my dad. He is a technician.
Oh, good.
Nice.
I love that. That's
right. I figured you would, Barb.
Yeah. I do.
Been a technician for over 30 years. He's a COIS certified technician, and he's been extremely passionate and loves what he does and can't get off the bench, so to speak.
I don't know anybody like that.
Right? No, we love it. We
right?
thrive in that. And he's been my primary, I would say mentor going into this over the years. It's been, it was a long road kind of getting through and deciding, because there was multiple things that I considered doing after university. But
well, let's not jump into university. Yeah, you obviously grew up with a dad making dentures, right? I mean, as a kid.
Was he a did he do dentures, ceramics, everything?
He had to.
He does everything. Yeah.
Oh.
So what, did you hang out in the lab when you were younger like I did?
I did. I had my first job was cleaning the lab when I was 14. And
yeah, don't you love that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was my favorite. Yeah, twice a week for like 10 years I did that. And then when I turned 17.
For free, I'm sure. Right?
Oh, yeah. No. I got paid really well. It was a good employee. And then when I was 16, I started driving for him, doing like deliveries.
That's what I did. Cool.
Yeah. And then
was this in Canada?
All in Canada. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then later on, I did plaster room.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was my summer job, one of my summer jobs. And then, and then it just progressed from there into this.
So it was always something you kind of liked, like when you were hanging out in there and looking over your dad's shoulder. Was it always something like was intriguing to you? Not the cleaning. The actual
the cleaning part, not the plaster job.
You're really into mopping, right? It's like your passion.
Yeah. The Dyson is always my favorite part. No, you know what? It always was. I really liked the fact that it was hands-on, and there's so many different aspects that go into this type of career, like from paperwork to having different treatment plans to having something that's hands-on to having to problem solve, the physiological elements of each one. Like it's so dynamic and it never gets boring.
Yep,
and I love it.
I would agree. Cool. So even when you were 16, 17, you were jazzed about it, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Sorry, Elvis. Now you can ask your question.
No. Did you sit next to your dad doing work? I mean, did he teach you as you were aging, or was it just you're in the model room?
No, he did. He taught me pour-ups and everything and articulations and stuff when I was like growing up. So that was kind of firsthand. But yeah, I guess after I finished denturism, I ended up doing my practicum on the island from two fantastic women that we're all still friends today, and they taught me a lot as well. So I got a pretty like rounded perspective and within different perspectives of how to do things, which I really appreciated. Yeah.
Okay, so when did you decide that denturism was more rewarding than just lab work? I mean, there had to have been something that...
Yeah, you mentioned university, so it sounds like you went to uni.
I did, yeah. That's a good question. Well, I went to I did my undergrad in psychology, and then I did minors as well. Yeah. And then after that, I continued on into denturism. But I think, the piece of it was the patient portion of it. There was a while where I considered medical school, and I did end up getting accepted into that as well. But I like the self-governance of denturism.
Oh, yeah.
The ability for me to be able to control my own workflow, control the quality of care, and see it as a wholesome business for whatever I would like to do with it into the future. And then have the patient aspect of it. You can change someone's life every day, right? And we do.
Yep.
And that it's pretty awesome feeling when people get to leave with a smile on their face.
So was your dad encouraging you to do denturism, or is he like technician, stay with that aspect?
No, it was more so laid out as an option.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was an option, and I think like I was really young at the time, so when I was in university, so I think that it was something where just toggling between different ideas on what I wanted to do, it was an option that was laid there, but it definitely was not pushed upon or anything like that.
Sounds like you haven't had any other job outside of teeth.
No.
Is this true?
This is incorrect.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I've had a business before in the food industry, and when I was in university, I started it, and then I sold it right before I finished with school for denturism.
So while you're in school, you ran a restaurant or?
No, I started it was a marinade business.
Wow.
A marinade.
So you like to cook?
I love cooking.
That is so great.
Yeah.
So you made, like, excuse my ignorance, but things you marinate like meat in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
really?
Yeah. No, I made 3 different types, and it started off at the farmers markets, and then it kind of progressed on to grocery stores in multiple different provinces. And then I had a pretty large team at the time.
Really?
Yeah. And then I sold it 4 or 5 months before I finished denturism.
So how did you choose? Like, how did you know that wasn't your path and denturism was? Like,
you could have been the marinating queen of Canada.
Yeah. Like Elvis and I, we talk to a lot of people, but we've never heard that. That's pretty incredible.
It's like random facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? I had my time with it, and I really enjoyed what I did in that business, and I loved it, but it was not my long-term dream for myself, because at the end of the day, sure, like, you know, it's an instant satisfaction product. It doesn't give people that longevity of healthcare, and you know,
and you didn't really get to meet the person and see their teeth and see the light in their eyes and sparkly personality.
Exactly.
Wow.
A good meal lasts a few hours. A smile lasts forever.
Well, food is love. I do know that.
That is true.
That's for sure. Yep.
I mean, you probably went from making it in your kitchen, selling it at farmer markets, to what, mass production?
Yep, that's exactly.
Yeah, I could see how you would lose interest.
Yeah.
Or passion, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, like, from perspective of going from mass production, from homemaking in the kitchen to even workflow in the office, like the two kind of parallel with each other of keeping the creativity alive.
Sure. Yeah.
Because, you know, as soon as you end up getting to a certain point, it can become sometimes a little bit phased out with interest. And that's something that I love about denturism, that it doesn't happen if you don't want it to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I swear we're going to move on from this, but...
Are you sure?
is your recipe still out on shelves?
I think it is. Yeah, I don't really keep tabs on it anymore.
Really? Interesting.
We have a pretty big food chain here in Canada. It's Save On Foods, and they have it in a bunch of their stores. I'm pretty sure they still do, but I don't.
You don't have a hankering for it every now and again?
No.
That's funny. Okay, we're moving back to teeth. So, sorry. So talk about the university experience. Where did you go? What was it like getting into it? I mean, it had to have been pretty easy for you. I mean, you grew up with it.
Yeah, I started university. I graduated high school when I was 16, and then went into university like 2 weeks right after I turned 17, and I went to UBC.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I just got my driver's license, so it was a sight to see. I went to University at UBC in Cologne, and I was there for 6 years. And
6 years?
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. So I did my degree in psych, and then I did 3 minors as well during that time. And then while I was in my last year, that was when I kind of needed to decide what I wanted to move on and do after the undergrad, and then denturism was there, and yeah.
So in a list, after 6 years of school, that's where you went. That is so amazing.
Yeah, and then 3 years after that. So
I'll say.
it was a long stretch.
I mean, that's remarkable, though. I mean, that's 9 years, correct? 9 years of school? Holy
Yes.
crap.
Half, yeah. Yeah.
When you decide to go into denturism, do you have to like take a test to get
Mm-hmm.
in, or what's
Yeah.
that like?
They do like a little entrance exam at the time. Like they only take a certain amount of people every couple of years.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we've heard that. Yep. The ones that do really well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's a pretty competitive thing to get into. So yeah, you're right. An entrance exam, and then they have you do an aptitude test as well for like dexterity and whatnot, and then they come back and review everything with you, and then from there you either get in or get out.
Wow.
Do you make a denture? What's the dexterity? I mean, is it dental related, or is it like a fidget
They,
spinner? I
you
don't
know
know.
what? It's so funny that you asked that. They actually had us draw a tooth on graph paper that was the same size as a smaller one that they give you. So for ratio wise,
Oh,
and then they
okay, yeah.
find like a circle out of wrought wire and see how good your circle is, and like,
Oh, I
So
would
you actually
fail
have to do
horribly.
stuff.
yeah, 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 like little things, of course, but it's still like part of it. I forget exactly what else they made me do, but yeah, those two things I remember specifically, especially the circle because it had to be flat. So
Oh, that I could
That
never.
is
I
so
could even bend a
great.
paper clip and make it look good.
fun wrought wire.
So, yeah, so take us through the denturism part of the university. So you said what? It was another 3 years or 2 years?
It was 2 years, and then we continued to do the practicum after. And the part that I graduated from denturism in February of 2020, and it was right 2 weeks before we got shut down for COVID.
I was just going to say
Yikes.
COVID, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it put a screeching halt into things for obviously for everybody. And then I waited out, and then I started my practicum that summer on the island, on Vancouver Island. And
Mhm.
that was 6 months.
So what was that like? What'd you
It
do?
was it was
Were you
amazing.
Yeah, were you in like a doctor's office?
I was in a practice with two other denturists and their team, and we had a blast. I learned so much from both of them. They were definitely like my main mentors during that time, and yeah, they're both Ivoclar trained denturists,
Mm-hmm.
taught SEMCD courses, and that entire world of analog. And I really loved the way that they had run their business at that time. It was inspiring as a young woman to go into there and then have two other women kind of guide you along
Oh,
the way.
hell yeah.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. So does
Yeah.
the school place you or do you have to find somewhere to go for that time?
That's a really good question. You have to find that on your own. And
Wow.
unfortunately, there was a lot of people in my class that had a really hard time finding placement. After we graduated and finding practicum spots, I know that some people didn't find placement for over a year afterwards or even longer because people just weren't willing to put themselves out there and train the next generation coming up. So I was really lucky that I got in with them and that I got in so quickly.
So you're saying it wasn't just like a COVID issue, even without the pandemic. It's hard to find people willing to train new
Mm-hmm.
denturists.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're all a little stuck in our ways. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, like naturally being in this field, and that's okay. But yeah, it was definitely hard. I'm just happy that they were willing to take me on.
So
Sure.
what'd you look up? Lab-owned women? Women-owned denturists? Like,
No,
what did you search?
no. So when I was in school, my dad, him and I used to go to different courses together even before I had my license. And we actually went to Chicago, LMT there. I think it was 2019,
Nice.
which was amazing. And
Shout
then,
out to your dad. Yep.
right. Yeah. So then I was looking for an Ivoclar setup course at the time. And my mentor was the one that was teaching it. And little did I know he had reached out to her and was like, hey, like my daughter needs a placement. Would you be considering taking a practicum student?
Wow.
And then she did a couple
Who
months
is
later.
it?
Aw,
Name drop. Maybe we know.
great.
Her name's Erica Colbank.
The
So
name's
good.
familiar. I think I've seen it on a course or
So
two.
good.
Yeah, and Stephanie Yates, yeah.
So when you got into the real world clinical aspect, was there anything that surprised you that they didn't teach you at school?
Oh my goodness, they don't teach you.
What don't they, right?
there's
Everything.
there's personalities behind these teeth. What?
There is, yeah, and honestly, like I think that's one of the biggest challenges is learning how to deal with difficult situations where they don't tell you how to protect yourself, how to maintain good status quo for us and your staff and protect your staff. Because I came right out of my practicum, wrote my board exam, and opened my own office right away. And
that's nuts.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's all I ever wanted to do. And
Aww.
I love that. And we've come a really long way. We've had an excellent last couple of years, but it's a struggle, like insurance wise, all those things. And it comes with its challenges for sure. But I think the people emotional piece of it is probably one of the hardest parts.
I think, explain that, like the emotional piece for you or for them, or what does that mean to you?
I think it means to be able to, so like when patients come to me, my treatment planning goes as far down the line as I can see for people.
I love that.
I don't like patchwork. I'm not into patchwork.
Yeah.
And generally the patients that do come to me, they know that that's my style of treatment planning is as far down the line as we can possibly see.
Yeah.
And taking that into account to be able to wholesomely guide people through the process of being like, hey, this is where you're at right now, having communication with the dentist or with the oral surgeon properly along the way, and then being able to help the patient in that process. So we book their appointments for them with their dentist, with their oral surgeon, or do referrals for them. We do everything in-house. So it really helps guide the process versus just telling the patient, tell your dentist you need rest preps, and then you don't hear anything for a month. Like we've never done that.
Yeah.
So from our office, we have a really awesome integral community for communication to be able to book patients.
Yeah.
Get that process started for them. Because like people, if they come to you, they're looking for answers. They don't want an answer in 6 months. They don't want an answer in a year. They want an answer now.
Yeah.
So that's something that we strive ourselves on in the office is giving long-term treatment plans in an efficient manner.
But I like how you say emotional. So you emotionally connect with the patient. Like you're there for the long term. You want to see them healthy and happy, and like it's not just one-stop shop.
Totally. Yeah. And I love that because that's, it is about gaining trust with one another and guiding each other along the way. And I think a lot of people, they're in a lot of really vulnerable positions when they get full mouth clearance and some implants or not, or that itself is an extremely emotional process for people to go through, and then support them in it. But I'll also be really realistic with them about and not have any false expectations. Like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, here's an immediate, read the piece of paper, bye. No, it's like, this is life-changing. And I think people need to be completely informed about all of those, any type of denture process, because it is life-changing, right? It feeds you, you have confidence through it. It nourishes you. It's not only a piece of plastic, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So true. That really comes out when you're speaking about it as well. Anybody could, restore teeth, but there's a whole different level of the way you're speaking and how passionate you are and how well you take care of them. And that's why Elvis and I love denturists, right?
Yeah.
Elvis?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm amazed that you graduated and you just opened up your own practice. You didn't work anywhere first?
I thought you were going to say, I'm amazed that you graduated after 10 years.
No, well, there's that too. I'm proud of everyone.
Thanks. Yeah. No.
I mean, did you just open up your own practice? Did you buy an old practice?
No, I started from scratch.
You just use your marinade fortune.
Company. That's genius.
No, so my dad had an office down on one end of town, and when I was close to graduating, we bought the building that we're in together
nice.
Shortly after, and then started renovations. And I like as soon as I found out that I passed and my license came through, I opened like as soon as I could. So I opened in December of 2021, and then everything went really quickly. It was just, so I had a technician that I'd hired a couple months before that because we were doing some work for dentists with my dad, and then it kind of slowly progressed, and then she was amazing, and she worked for me up until this last summer when her family moved out east. And then since then there's 9 of us now in my office, and it's been a really ever-changing, rapid growth, but still maintaining that quality of care along the way. So we've had a lot of change.
How do you find these people?
I know. I had to go back. I got to go back further. And you got to go through with Elvis and I and everybody listening, like opening a lab that young, opening a denturism lab, I guess. Is that how you say it?
Office.
Yeah.
Office, denturist office. That young, just starting out. Like, where do you even start? Who's the first person you hire other than yourself? Like, what do you do?
That's a good question. So I hired a technician that I got really lucky because the town that I live in is quite small. And I hired a technician before I opened, and her and I worked together for a couple months to feel each other out. And we were working on cases at the time for some dentists, and she was looking for a job and happened to live right down the street. So it was like a godsend at the time.
I'll say.
So you're doing work for other dentists?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did, I built the dentures when, under my dad's lab at the time before I had even opened.
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that, then I opened, and then slowly I
said,
hired...
Sorry, Dad, I'm taking her with me.
I know, right? Yeah. And she was incredible. Like, she worked for me up until this last summer.
Nice.
When her and her family decided to move out east.
Mm-hmm.
So I miss her a lot. She was an absolute like staple, super hardworking woman. I respected her a lot. So, and we grew together over the years. But since then, in that time, so I hired her in November. Then my office manager I hired in February, and she is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the person you can't live without, handles everything, keeps you straight.
The funny part about her is that she's also my best friend, but her daughter worked for my dad. Wow. And I met her.
You do live in a small town.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I got really lucky, and she's my rock at work. She's amazing. And then, over the years, we've had a lot of horseshoes sticking around for finding a really, really good team along the way, because it isn't necessarily easy. We have had, like, the reality of it is we've had people come and go, and people that, you don't click with, and that's just part of it.
Yeah, it's part of life.
It is, yeah. And as uncomfortable and awkward as it is, it's just part of the workflow.
So do you go park it in your dad's office and say, Dad, what the hell do I do about this?
No, we work really well together. Like, I adore, so he makes all my frameworks for me.
Sweet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is awesome. So we keep everything in house, which I really pride ourselves on. Everything is obviously, there's huge amount of quality control there, which I love. And he's super communicative. Like, if a bite's tight, we don't have enough room, or, different design options and materials, or what kind of class system we're going to put on. That is something that him and I can talk about. And if he needs something, he just walks over. If I need something, I walk over. So I'm really lucky to have that.
When you decided to start seeing patients, how did you start advertising? Did they just show up? How does that work?
I put a couple ads into the local paper.
Like a physical newspaper.
Yes, we have a physical newspaper. Yeah, it's called the Penticton Herald, and I had a front page banner, and I have had that front page banner since almost the day I opened for the entire time, and I still have it.
Wow.
So they find you.
They find me, or we get referrals through dentists. We work with an awesome group of dentists. I think there's about 30 dentists that I work with primarily, and then
town's not that small.
No. yeah, and then with a couple really awesome oral surgeons in Kelowna, and yeah, so we all refer each other patients. So it's a really, really good flow of community.
Yeah.
And for patient referrals, which I think is really important, because the last thing you want is for someone not to be treated properly because you don't have that communication with other practitioners as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I think that's one thing that stresses doctors and denturists out. And you always want to leave with a happy patient, because they tell their friends that it was either amazing or it wasn't so amazing of an experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do. It's
especially in a small town. I'm sure word travels quickly.
Real fast.
Oh my goodness, it travels very fast. Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned Ivoclar earlier, wanting to learn their technique on setups. What do you mostly do in the clinic now? Are you an Ivoclar fan? Or are you?
I am an Ivoclar lover.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
I knew we were going there. Yes.
I know, right? I'm an Ivoclar lover.
That's okay. Barb is too.
I don't blame you.
Yep.
So I'm not digital by any means. I tried it and I'm not a fan.
Really? Interesting.
From a denturist perspective, I just don't think the technology is there yet. So everything in my clinic is completely analog. And everything we do, from setups to materials to the injections to everything, is from Ivoclar. Anything you can think of, you can get from Ivoclar. That's what we use.
Nice.
Now, is that like what you always used? Did your dad recommend it? Was that what they used at the university? Like, how did you start there and realize how great it was?
No, that's a good question. In my practicum, they were also like really hardcore with their Ivoclar products, and I just loved it. And along the way, I've tried other ones, and I just I'm not a fan. So
you used them along the way, and then you realized that's the only one for me and my my student.
Yeah, awesome. Back to the stuck in my ways.
Yep, exactly. Love it.
Yeah. With good reason.
So why didn't you like digital? So you said you tried it a little bit here and there. Like, we're not a pro or against. We've heard both sides. But for you, like, what didn't you like about it?
Yeah, I mean, each to their own. Everybody has their different flow in their offices and whatnot. But for me, every impression that I take is suction denture based. So there's no intraoral scanner that's going to be able to get a mucocompressive and like mucodynamic impression. Your tabletop scanner can get your final impression. That's great. But functionally speaking, I like the ability to be able to walk the patients through, you know what I mean, their natural muscle without being weird, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you end up with a scanner in there, there's things it doesn't catch, and then things get faked. And I personally, from my personal perspective, I don't like the material.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
I think it feels weird and chalky. Yeah. So like each to their own. I have no judgment, but for me personally, it's not the route that I am willing to take or try again.
Yeah.
Until there's something that's invented that really elevates the game.
Yeah.
And that's worth investing in, because it's not only like a timely investment, it's a huge financial investment as well.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to undertake that, but under the right circumstances.
Yeah. So you're not closed-minded. You're just kind of like, for me and my practice, I'm not there yet, or they're not there yet, I should say. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good call for your patients. And I think Elvis and we've talked to somebody about 6 weeks ago that said the same thing about the suction-based and that part of it. Isn't that all boiled down to how well they fit in the mouth? Yeah.
100%. And every patient that comes through my door, like I take my time with every single impression. They all have, I border mold on all of them and do 2 washes on all of them. And I take a stick bite and do my functional bite rims. And every case is treated the same. The only thing that kind of differs in our office is the teeth, and then people can use either the Veneris or, I do use Vita teeth as well, the lingoforms, and I like those as well. But yeah, I think quality wise, I have much more control with the analog, and I like being able to see the setup in front of me. I know what my patient looks like. I don't have it on a screen. Sure, yes, you can add your images over each other, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
And with the SEMCD like measurements, when you do set up, everything is based off of golden proportions. So, and sure, you can do that on your computer. You can do it on exocad. I have tried it. I just don't like the feel of it as much, and maybe I'm a little bit old school, but I just appreciate it a lot more.
I think that's a very fair answer. It's a fair answer and sincere, and from the looks of you, you're definitely not old school, so I think it's just an honest observation, and that's what works for your practice. So I think that's a great answer.
And I'll even say, for someone that does a lot of digital dentures, it's very fair what you're saying. You're right. The lack is that initial impression.
Yeah, totally.
How did you get certified? What'd you call it? SEMCD?
Oh, yeah, it's a course that you can take, and suction effective mandibular dentures, and it goes for uppers and lowers the same way. Like in school, they teach you, your single wash with a tray that you hold in their mouth, and then you do your bite blocks as separate. In this method, one of the primary pieces is having it be directly from the patient. So we put it in, like we have our bite blocks that are pre-measured from a center relation bite that we take on their preliminary impression day with a stick bite and a midline marker, and it all goes on the articulator. So then by the time we put the final impressions in their mouth, everything's preset and pre-measured for proper freeway. So they have a good supportive bite when it goes in. And then the rims are designed in order to get the most optimal border mold and suction. Yeah.
Wow.
And borders and whatnot. So they take a little while, but they're worth it.
So how much time are you spending with each patient on every appointment? Are we talking hours?
For my final impression appointments, I book 45-minute slots.
That's a healthy impression time.
Yeah, it's a healthy impression time because that appointment is the root and the foundation of the house.
Yeah.
If that appointment is done quickly, you will end up with a patient where things are moving around, they get more sore spots, they are already predisposed to dry mouth, a lot of them, and getting more sore spots because of it, let alone, between all of the factors that you're trying to take into place, it is the appointment that is the most important, in my opinion. Function first. People want to eat.
Yes, and comfortably, for sure.
Yeah, comfortably. So if you can minimize all that by taking a little bit more time in that appointment and walking people through it, like all of my patients are pre-informed before we go ahead with the process. So when I do sit down and consult with them, they know exactly what's happening on every single appointment before I even start. And they know, these are 45-minute appointments, there's going to be a lot of in and out, and I walk them through it. So I stand in front of them and do the motions with them that I need to be able to get a proper impression. I don't, there's no manipulative border molding from me unless the patient needs some help. But otherwise it's natural based, and I really believe in that method.
What does that mean? You don't manipulate the lips and cheeks? You let them do it? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Because I see this all the time, chairside. Doctors put it in, then they pull their lips, and they're just moving muscle around, and it all seems very unnatural.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It is unnatural. Like, I'm not going to stand there and move your cheeks when you're eating your hot dog. Like, no.
Yeah, how often do people stick their finger in there and pull it forward and move it up?
Happen, right? So in this style of final impression taking, because the rims are preset and everything's pre-measured to the proper freeway and a supportive occlusal bite, is that I pop everything in their mouth. We do the first heavy border, on the upper and the lower trays, or just the upper trays or just the lower. And then I stand in front of them and I walk them through. They do like a super big smile, and then they do like a kiss face, and then they open their mouth and they stick their tongue out. And we get all of the muscles of mastication within those 3 or 4 movements that I walk them through, and maximum frenum extension. So like when we go through that, like I don't need to do any frenum relief on my final dentures, because I know exactly that those patients have given me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you're doing this in a custom tray.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, thanks. I like it too.
Recently, I've been spending a lot of time clinically doing dentures, and it's just, it's mind-boggling, the, I guess, lack of attention to even the first impression, you know? Just kind of stick it in there, and then, like I say, they move their lips around, and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't understand this. But
what's your favorite part and your least favorite part?
My favorite part is just delivering a thing and having it delivered, honestly, because I usually get called in when things are not going well.
Right.
That's usually when I show up. So that's definitely my favorite. Least favorite is just when they're not going well, you know, especially with digital. I don't understand how we can have a bite digitally and we don't have it clinically.
Yeah.
That's confusing to me. And if once I figure that out, I will be making a lot more money than I am now.
A lot less headaches, a lot less time. Yeah. No, that's really valid. For sure.
Well, I noticed, you know, just strolling on Instagram, you got a van? You get out there and you head out to the sticks? Is that a thing?
That van I used to. And so I sold it last year.
Aww.
It was very challenging to find the proper staffing for that van.
Who wants to work in a small van?
Oh man, like, and you know, the thing is that van wasn't like, I never worked out of the van. It was literally just a transportation mechanism for patients that had mobility issues, because literally in a small town, we have like one cab in the entire South Okanagan that has a wheelchair accessibility, or even oversized wheelchair accessibility. Yeah, so that was why I bought it, because I'm like, this is crazy. Like I
gotta get out there. Yeah.
Like people need help. How else are they supposed to get around? And that was the idea with it. And it did work really well. It was just a logistical nightmare when it came to staffing and scheduling and finding a driver that actually knew. It was a right-hand drive as well.
Wow.
So most people kind of saw that and they were like, ooh, no thanks. Yeah, but it was awesome. And the people that did use it, they used it a lot. And I think that it really opened up, you know, because it was for any dental appointments, any medical appointments. It wasn't only appointments to my office.
Oh, wow. You, the entrepreneur. Yeah.
Thanks.
That's pretty crazy. So what, in your brain, you were just like, we need this? And you invested?
Yeah. I came back one summer holiday with my van and I was like, we're going to try this.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Like I really liked that van, but I ended up selling it to a gentleman that turned it into a camper van, because that's what those ones are traditionally used.
You're like, there is only so much time in the day, people. Like, yeah, I would see that.
Yeah.
How often did you end up driving?
Me? Too many times.
Yeah.
Too many times. And then I have a full patient load, and doing that on top of it and trying to just efficiently and calmly go through my day. It was just a problem that I wasn't really willing to.
Yeah, it's a good call. Sounds like you have a knack for taking really good care of yourself. So I got a question. You said you have a staff of 9. You're the main, so you basically go in and you treatment plan. What is everybody else? Like that's a big team. So do you have a couple denturists also with you, or?
Yeah, I have one other denturist.
Yep.
So myself and him, and he's amazing.
Yep.
And and then I have my office manager, a receptionist, a patient coordinator, and then everybody else is technicians in the back.
That's a big team, lady. Seriously. What do you guys like moving through a day? I mean, how do you see to it that you're not too busy? Do you have one day that you're making dentures? Do you have one day that you're trying them in? Like, Are you a 5-day? Are you 4-day? I know that's a lot of questions. Start with
number one.
So we run 4 10s.
Oh wow!
I used to run 5/8, but I just don't. You know what? Everybody can way better on a Monday. You're rested. If I need to do paperwork on a Friday or whatever else, organizing.
Done. Yeah.
You know, like there's so much happening. So yeah, like, I mean, between myself and my wonderful colleague that is also denturist, we probably see anywhere from between the two of us 30 people a day.
Damn.
A day?
30?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and 45-minute impression appointments? How does that math work?
So the appointments are all staggered. We always keep multiple spots for patients in the day for adjustments, walk-ins, repairs, stuff like that. And then the appointments are all staggered appropriately between the two of us, so we have enough time to efficiently treat everybody.
Wow.
And then we have a really good routine. Like our patient coordinator, she is also in charge of sterilization. So my colleague and I, we seat our patients, but we don't sterilize the rooms ourselves or anything like that. So it's just maximum efficiency in the office, so that they're greeted properly, forms are filled out properly. Him and I have enough time to do our patient charting properly. And then my office manager also treatment plans. And she runs all the insurance for patients as well. So we have a really awesome system going on. And we also have meetings twice a day. So we do a meeting in the morning and a meeting in the evening.
Twice a day?
Yeah. It's an absolute must for us, because everything is analog, and because, there's so many case pans. Everybody has their stations and the stuff that they work on individually before it moves on to their next colleague. So to be able to make sure everybody's on time, the time slips are appropriate, we're all in order and on time to support each other so that no one runs out of time or patients aren't waiting for something unnecessarily. The meetings are the one thing that keep us connected as a team.
Yeah, it makes you slow down and just connect base with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the emotional connection you were talking about earlier.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody gets to talk in the meetings too. So we have a lot of fun at our meetings.
Yeah. How many technicians do you have? 2?
So I personally have trained 3.
Oh, wow.
And then I have, and then the other technicians, they're unlicensed, but they're trained from other places where they've come to me.
Sure. So are they doing just your work and your associates, or are you still taking work? Okay. So, wow, you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
What's it like to manage all that? Like, do you have work-life balance? You said you work 4 days, 10 hours, which I love. So you have 3 days off. Do you find yourself getting pulled back in those 3 days? Or are you managing to actually have some downtime?
Depends on the week, Barb.
Yeah, depends on the week. You know what? Up until a couple months ago, I was working 15 plus hours a day.
Yeah.
And it was every day. And I love that. I can have no problem embellishing myself in that. And, staying on top of everything. I have no problem doing all of that. I think being the team size that we are, it is building trust within one another to make sure that everybody's taking care of their responsibilities properly.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And in that, it leaks into me having a little bit more work-life balance, like you said. And I love my work-life balance that I'm introducing my new self into, because it is new. But yeah, it's definitely it's a work in progress, especially when you work that much. And then on the weekend, you always have a little bit of like guilt.
Yeah, no. I was raised Catholic. We don't know about guilt. No.
Yeah, like it's a thing. And I love what I do. I'm super passionate about it. And I love taking care of my patients and being my best for them and for my team, and making sure that everybody's taken care of properly. But at the end of the day too, it's something that I definitely had some times where I burnt out over the years, and it's just honing back and being like, okay, what does this look like now for me?
Yeah.
When you're constantly taking care of everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's busy. I like it busy, but
yeah. Sometimes you gotta just sell that van.
Yeah, exactly. That van. It was a good chapter, but it needed to end.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's next for you? Do you have plans to expand, or is your dad still there? Is he going to work more years, or like what's the future for you?
Yeah, my dad is still there. He has his lab and he's full throttle forward.
Good for him.
Yes, yeah, he is. Yeah, he's not even close to retirement.
Good.
And he loves what he does. But for me and the team, I think at this point we are holding steady and refining ourselves every week and getting better every week and learning each other and growing together, because it's one thing that I've noticed over the last couple of years is everybody has new ways of doing things and listening to one another and making the system better. It's not only the size and the volume, it's quality over quantity that is really important for me to focus on. And it always has been, but there's always times where it's like, okay, no, we need to hone in again. Like, right, where are we? And what do we want for ourselves? And yeah, the future is definitely a little bit more work-life balance for everybody. So we had a meeting yesterday where everybody got to pick what kind of holidays they wanted to take. And I leave that up to my team, because at the end of the day, I do really believe in their mental health as well along the way, and having them pick when they want to take holidays and how. And I leave it completely up to them to govern that for themselves.
I celebrate Mondays.
Positive.
Mondays is my holiday.
Mondays is my
every
holiday.
Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. Mondays is Mondays is always a good day. Mondays is not a holiday for us though.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Mondays. It always seems
Mondays are every technician's nightmare.
Yeah.
That's why it's my holiday. I have to take every Monday off. Yeah.
Thank you. I would agree with you on that for sure.
Right? Yeah, it always comes around.
I want to ask about the dentures that have clear palates.
Okay.
These things are not in America. I mean, I don't see them.
Really?
Yes. And we talked to somebody, I think they were from Brazil or something, and they did only those. Are they big in Canada up there?
No, but it's interesting that you say that you're talking to someone from Brazil, because they have a beautiful system down there for doing more custom stains and, bringing life to the dentures.
Yeah.
They're not really common. Like, I know of a couple other clinics that do them, but most, the patients that I do get, they specifically ask for them. And it's definitely something where, the people that do know that I do it, like I've had people seek me out specifically for that reason, because they know that I do that. But it's not that common. No.
Yes. So where did you learn it? From somebody in Brazil?
No. Oh, no. I would love to. But no, I learned the clear palate technique from when I was doing my practicum, because they did that in their office.
Interesting, yeah.
And then I kind of just progressed from there and started using different products and different ideas.
Would you guys like to expand on what that is for my
non-denture
knowledge?
brain?
Yes, please.
Elvis?
Like I said, we don't do them here, or I don't see them, but from what I understand, it's a clear denture. But when you get the pink, it's only up around the teeth, and it's all done with a series of stains, so it's less monolithic.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. They're I find so, like, the cool thing with the clear palates is that when patients, like if they're younger, for example, or if they're more aesthetically, inclined to be like,
sure.
I don't want anybody to see that it's in there. If you're talking to somebody at a dinner table and they look up at you, you can't see the clear palates in their mouth, versus like the traditional, whatever USL or whatever pink you're using.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see that terminating line at the end, right?
Yeah.
With the clear palettes, you don't. And then the other neat part is that you can put all kinds of different colors. So from different backgrounds. So if you have, different skin colors, you can adapt to that. It's not only the, one trick pony.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's like internal staining and external, I think.
How do you know about it, Elvis?
Well, I do a podcast that I talk to some people.
Tell your secrets.
That's not true. How do you know about it?
Seriously, just for...
All right.
Oh, man. Yeah. No, I think they're great. and they're super fun to make. Like I made one the other day and the patient was like ecstatic.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I only do internals. I don't do externals anymore.
Okay.
There's a couple different reasons for that. I've tried both, and I've tried a combo of both. I've tried everything under the sun with these things, and I think the internal I like the most because when you finish your denture, you have it finished and it's done. You can high polish it, you can put a high shine on it, and it's beautiful. There's no flaking. There's no calculus that sticks to it. When they come in a years from now, that denture with the proper cleaning protocol is going to look exactly the same.
Brand new, yeah.
Exactly. The externals, I find that they end up like flaking or the calculus kind of sticks to them, and you just can't, longevity wise, they're personally, like I found them not to be as nice.
Yeah.
You have more control, but that's about it.
They're still acrylic and it's ejected. It's just clear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured it was the same process.
So I use the one stain from Ivoclar, and then I use another stain from Enigma.
Oh, okay. Haven't even heard of them.
Yeah. They actually don't, I don't think that they make their stains anymore. They stopped producing them not too long ago, and I went on a hunt to find every single.
Oh, you hoarded it, huh?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I was that person. So I bought everything I could find in sight because it's my favorite internal stain to do. But yeah, the Ivoclar one is also really good. They have the 3 shades, the 3 primary shades that you can use as well. And then I just inject with the clear acrylic from Ivoclar as well on top.
Wow.
So Ivoclar's got all this stuff. I wonder why America doesn't do it.
They do.
I don't know. They do. Maybe just not around me, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe. But you guys there's only 5 states that actually have denturist. Am I right?
Even that. But yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
And how many denturists are there?
I have no idea. Not many.
Mm-mm.
We probably talked to most of them on the podcast.
Seriously. I mean, I'm
I don't know.
fascinated by the fact that you can run your own business and you can treat patients and you can meet patients and treatment plan and do everything to that level of excellence. And I love dentists, but without, having a, dentist, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah. So is it mostly prosthodontists that then take care on those cases, or dentists?
No, they try.
Yeah, they try. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they send crappy records and scans to a lab to make a denture.
Right.
Not to that level, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
No doubt.
We've all been accustomed to those.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
Want another reline on an old TC, please?
That's okay. I'll just soft line it later. It's fine.
No problem.
Right.
Josie, thank you so much. What a great time talking to you about denturism.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, and I think you're going to just keep building and building and building. I don't think you're going to be at 9 folks for a while. It's going to be, it sounds to me like you've got bigger things in mind personally.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate
you.
That.
That's awesome.
Always got something in the background.
Yep. Bingo. Never stop. Never stop.
Stop. You're right. Well, I wish you both a beautiful weekend.
Thank you.
Do the same. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you at a lab day someday.
Yes.
Absolutely. That would be amazing.
Awesome. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. Have a great one. Thank you.
Bye.
A huge thanks to Josie for coming on our podcast and talking about your amazing journey that was only accomplished by years of hard work. 9 years, that's ridiculous. And selling a business on top of that. It's really great to see what you have created and the good people that you have surrounded yourself with. Tell you what, from marinade to suction-based dentures, your path is definitely one of the most unique ones we have heard. So keep doing what you're doing and keep sharing it online, because I know Elvis loves it. And me too, but you're on more than me.
All right, everybody, that's all we got for you. And of course, we'll talk to you next week.
Let's do the countdown to IDX. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye. So where were we?
She was just talking about the building that she and her father.
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. So What's that?
I said I was listening, Stacey.
Golden star for Barb.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was panicking over here. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So.
The views and opinions expressed on the Voices from the Bench podcast are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the host or Voices from the Bench, LLC.